Wake-Up Call with Dan Tortora. Appreciate your patience this morning. Inside of these Cafe Kubal studios, you are with us worldwide on Facebook.com, YouTube.com, and MixLR.com, all / Wake Up Call DT. You can also find us worldwide on Facebook.com / LiveNowDT, and you can find us on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage. So however you're connecting with the show, we thank you so much for being here this morning and every single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Hope you're having yourselves a great week this week. I can't believe it's Christmas week. I can't believe it's Hanukkah week. And I can't believe the week is already on Thursday. I cannot believe that we're here this morning and it's already Thursday. Christmas right around the corner. Hanukkah started this past Sunday. So a beautiful thing to be here this morning, celebrating the holidays and celebrating this beautiful, beautiful season of, goodness, I would hope. Reminding people to take chances, reminding people to go after what they want in life and to be nice to people. Hopefully days like today bring you to a special place, and holidays like this bring you to a special place, because we can all do better, and I hope that we do better. So welcome here this morning. So happy to be here with you. As I said, the Cafe Kubal Studios, Cafe Kubal, located for you on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, New York. You can also find them on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners, and that is in North Syracuse by the airport in their drive-thru location. And you can find them on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. Go and fill your cup up right today. Sometimes you gotta bring in a whole thermos and say, fill this with goodness. Just fill it all. I need it. I need it for the day. I need it for the week. Maybe your Christmas cookies are getting made today and you need to go get your coffee. I get my chai tea there, so make sure you go out and get something from Cafe Kubal today. And, of course, their holiday blend available for a very limited time, and you can go to cafekubal.com if you're out of town and order that from there as well. That's cafe, Kubal.com. Inside the Cafe Kubal studios, you see this stuff all the time, are Witty Wicks candles that smell like just goodness. And this Namaste at Home, I tell you folks, this candle, and for those of you that are watching and listened before, this specific candle is just, it's beautiful for my allergies, the makeup of it. These are candles that are made with natural ingredients, and they're made right there in-house at Witty Wicks. Aaron does a fantastic job, and the entire team does. I want to thank them all for the work that they do. Head out to Witty Wicks today. Support local. Get some awesome candles. They have so many ones that are festive for the holiday season. Of course, the 315 sign and the Cuse pillows that are here in the studio, as well as the ornaments for your tree, folks, like the Upstate New York one. And Dino is recruiting Upstate New York, so this is going to come full circle like it just spun around here on this morning's broadcast. You can get these awesome ornaments and a bunch of things that are honoring and celebrating and spotlighting upstate and central New York by heading out to Witty Wicks today. So you support local, you buy local, they have local products in there, and they have products that are supporting the local community. So, I mean, there's so much local. Buying from Witty Wicks is buying local. They have local products made by businesses here in our community, and then they have upstate and Syracuse and Camillus and all of these different pieces and 315 pieces that celebrate our community that you can get there as well. So it's local on local on local, and you have voted them as your top gift shop spot in Central New York. So make sure you head out there today and do your Christmas, Hanukkah, and all holiday shopping at Witty Wicks. We love to see you out there. So with that being said, we have an awesome show set up here for you this morning inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. What's poppin' today is, I know on Wednesdays you're used to having Dolphin Time. Well, this one had to wait. We did an AD&DT Dolphin Dive duo, but we did it outside of our normal hours because there was a special opportunity this week that I had to be patient for in sending it to you. So yesterday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we didn't have our typical Dolphin Dive because we had a special AD&DT exclusive release of the information on who the new volleyball head coach would be for the Moyne Dolphins. And so that came out at 11:15 a.m. with Bob Beretta and I speaking on the hiring. Bob Beretta, the AD at Moyne that is with us every single month. And so you got to listen to that, and that's available on all of our channels. So if you go there and search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube. If you search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, you will find my conversation with Bob Beretta, the exclusive announcement on who the new head coach is for Moyne Volleyball. So we released that yesterday, and now today we have our Dolphin Dive, because today, on the heels of her accepting the position and being announced, Anna Pego is with me. She is a native of Brazil, and she is coming to Moyne via UNC Charlotte, and before that, the University of New Haven, where she served as an assistant under Robin Salters and then became the head coach for a short time. And obviously, New Haven is inside of the NE10, so she knows the conference that Moyne is a part of very well. And so we will have the opportunity to share Anna Pego to the world. And I hope that everyone out in Brazil is watching and listening to this and supporting one of your own here, Anna Pego, a native of Brazil, and here with us this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. We'll get into that Dolphin Dive exclusive first interview with Anna Pego in just a moment, and then in hour number 2, we'll head off to my Q&As with Dino Babers. Dino and I, on National Signing Day, spoke about recruiting the state of New York, because for the first time ever, not only have they recruited I shouldn't say for the first time ever recruiting multiple people from New York, but New York is, out of their signees by state, Syracuse's signees for the incoming 2023 class, New York State is number 1. Syracuse signed the most from New York State. It's typically Florida, and Syracuse has 4 from New York State coming in this year. Only 1 from Florida. That's Braylon Ingraham from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So Syracuse recruiting the state of New York, not only recruiting the state of New York, but the state of New York being its number 1 state as far as volume of signees, which they have 4. The closest to that is New Jersey and Virginia with 2. So with that being said, we're going to hear from Dino Babers on recruiting New York, on re-recruiting Jaeden Gould, who I covered through his recruitment, and what he thinks about the positives and negatives of the transfer portal so far. Dino and I will also speak on Rocky Long becoming defensive coordinator and his decision to promote Jason Beck and elevate him from quarterbacks coach to offensive coordinator. And then we'll get into him recruiting offensive linemen, as he's bringing in 5 for this incoming 2023 recruiting class. So a lot of great stuff coming up with Dino, and then coming off of that, we will continue the conversation on Syracuse's recruiting class and analyze it a little bit more as you and I talk about the recruits that are coming into Syracuse, the transfers, as well as the true freshmen. All of that coming up on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life, but not before we take a step aside for a fast break. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. We'll be back momentarily with Anna Pego right after this.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome here to an all-new edition of the Dolphin Dive, where we have the opportunity to dive into the stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Moyne College here with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. I am very happy to have picture-in-picture here your newest head coach on the Heights at Moyne. We did the exclusive announcement with athletic director at Moyne, Bob Beretta, and now we have the exclusive first interview with Anna Pego here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, as she has now been named the Moyne College Dolphins volleyball head coach. And I believe I'm going to attempt to say it. Bem-vinda, is that right?
That's right.
Bem-vinda a Moyne, Anna Pego, which in Portuguese means welcome to Moyne and welcome to the show, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So bring me into, it's been an interesting road here, right? So when did you first start talking with Moyne? How long of a process was this?
Not very long. It was kind of, everything was kind of quick. I know that they posted about the job right after the Division II season, but I didn't really get into it until my season was over. I'm currently at UNC Charlotte, which is a Division I school in North Carolina. So I wanted to finish off my season before I started, seeking other opportunities. But it was a lot of phone calls with Bob, who's been just fantastic. He seems like a phenomenal guy. Had a chance to visit the school for a day. It was just a very quick trip, but met with President Linda Lamora, which was just a phenomenal meet. She is incredible, just a lot of energy, a lot of passion. That's something that I can mirror myself as a person. She was just great. Had a chance to meet with the coaches, meet with some of the players. It was a quick trip, but obviously I am not unfamiliar with Moyne. Being at New Haven for about 5 years, 4 years ago, so not unfamiliar with the school, and having been up there for trips before. Know about a little bit about the Jesuit tradition, a little bit about the school from having a couple of colleagues who were at Boston College.
Yeah.
So not completely unknown to me. I know about the culture, I know about the Northeast Conference. So it was a fairly quick process. I think it was a lot of mutual liking. Bob has a fantastic plan for athletics, which it's just what I'm looking for in my next the next step of my career. So,
and knowing that
you're coming to a school that has been eyeing realignment and reclassification, the potential of going Division One. What does that mean to you, and how much does that play into it that you're taking over a program that could be Division One potentially?
Yeah, we'll take that step when we get there. I'm obviously familiar with Division One athletics, which is what I've been doing for the last 4 seasons. I know how the ins and outs works with, in terms of scheduling and in terms of recruiting. Been very successful doing all of that here at Charlotte. But I'm gonna enjoy taking one step at a time. Going back first in the Northeast potentially, right? You never know what can happen in 6 months. Yeah. But whatever the challenge is, I'm ready for it. I think the Northeast Conference is a great conference in terms of competitiveness, and moving into a Division One conference is just going to be as tough. So I'm excited about the possibility. Obviously, going back into Division Two and being a head coach is exciting, but then becoming a Division One head coach is even more exciting. But whatever it is, whatever happens, we'll take it as it goes.
Anna Pego here with me on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, the new coach for Lemoyne Volleyball, the head coach now, bringing us into a new chapter, a new era of Lemoyne Volleyball for the Dolphins. Speaking on the world, how small the world is in sports and how kind of ironic it is, you're at UNC Charlotte in Conference USA. They're moving to the American Athletic Conference, and you're moving to Lemoyne, which could move to D1. So all of this kind of a very, very strange world that we live in where things can kind of change on a dime. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, you've been a part of UNC Charlotte and on their staff in Conference USA as they're getting set to make a move, and now you're coming to a school that could make a move. Just how ironic that is that you're leaving one change to change what you're doing, but essentially you could be changing again in the middle of a change.
Yeah, I think it's exciting. It's from my experience here, even here at Charlotte, you start anew, and then everybody's excited for something that's new. So I think it's a good perspective just to begin with. I think it's good for recruiting. The program becomes more attractive to young players. And then you shift your focus even from training to be more like that conference. One of the things that I find is that, in volleyball, a lot of conferences have a lot of similarities in the type of players that they have, whether they are pin dominant or middle dominant or right side dominant, just to get into, a little bit of the specifics. But you start recruiting more like what is going to be successful for that conference. And it's new, I think it's new. I think it's exciting. I think everybody really gets on board of doing something different, traveling to different places, getting to go to different campuses and experience a different culture from different schools. So I think that's pretty exciting. It's exciting for me. It's been exciting because we've known about the American shift for Charlotte for about 1.5 years. So we've moved even our recruiting style to fit more into the American. So that has, I have a little bit of experience for that. And for me, changes is awesome. As you know, I am originally from Brazil, and I've come to the US, which was a big change, and I've lived all over the place, even in the US. So I'm always on the move, and I get excited for that.
Anna, what brought about the move for you from Brazil to America? Bring me into that story.
Volleyball, volleyball, it's the one thing that opened all the doors in my life. I've been playing since I was very young, about 8, 9. I started, really competitive. At 11, I was doing, big time country travel. I grew up in a small town in Brazil, and by the age of 13, 14, I went to move in a big city because of volleyball, to be a part of a bigger club. So I was very young, I left my mom, I left my whole family, went to live in a bigger city to be part of a club. And after that, I just really enjoyed school. I was fortunate to attend a good private school in Brazil that was very focused academically, but it was also a sports school, so I could play volleyball as well. And a lot of people that I met was like, yeah, maybe you should go to the US because you still want to go, to school. I was a science major. I really enjoyed science, and I really wanted to do that. So that's what opened up the recruiting doors for me to come to the US.
So, like you said, volleyball has opened up all the doors for you. Being a former player and having that connection to it, and then getting into the world of coaching and building through what you've done. I mean, we look back on your time, and I know that you were at Alabama State and became a captain while you were there. Then were on the staff as a student assistant coach before moving forward from there and finding your way to New Haven and then UNC Charlotte. What can you say about, the opportunity not only to play, but be on staff at Alabama State and what that meant to you to see both sides of it?
I would say, originally, I've like I said, I've been playing volleyball for a long time. So I've known the game for a long time, and I have an interesting perspective because I was a setter, and then being a setter is the person who sees the game from all angles, right? So in terms of volleyball IQ, I've always had, very good knowledge from a younger age. And when I was about to finish my degree at Alabama State, I had really good conversations with my coaches. We developed a really good relationship towards the latter end. And they really welcomed me on board to take charge of, doing some recruiting visits and being a part of the program because they trusted my judgment in that sense, trusted my volleyball IQ to be a part of the staff, even though I was just very young, just graduating college. I think it gives you a unique perspective of understanding the demands of playing Division I volleyball and being a coach and trying to balance your life and still have some sort of a social life, which is really hard. And I think that gives me a good perspective nowadays to see the different needs of the student athlete that it's playing currently, that is more focused academically, that needs more time to rest, that needs more time for themselves, and worry more about mental health and their physical health. And you still do volleyball. So
do you kind of look back on your time playing and wish that mental health and all the things that people pay attention to now, that maybe that was a focus back then? Because I feel like for me growing up, if you had if something bothered you, or you just felt drained, or, when you were doing a lot of different things, extracurriculars, playing sports, in my case, like running a TV station and doing different shows and whatnot, when you're doing all of that, you get tired, and then you have to deal with people. People aren't always nice. Things happen in family. So, mental health, at least for me growing up, people said, don't be weak, figure it out, stop acting like a baby. You're too emotional. People always have a tendency to do that. If something bothers someone, they would go, "Oh, you're just too emotional. I didn't hurt you. You're just weak." And nowadays, people are saying, "Oh no, you got to take care of your mental health. You should take a day off. You shouldn't have to work a 10-hour day and then study and then go to practice." So, do you wish that when you and I were growing up, that maybe people cared about that stuff a little bit more?
For sure. 100%, yeah, I can only imagine just playing different sports as women and as men, the different things that you hear. You hear, don't be emotional, suck it up and keep going. There was never much time to take a break and even have the hard conversations, even if you're going through something that was, nothing related to volleyball, just family. You really didn't have that space for the game. When you step on the court, it's like you leave everything behind. You cannot bring anything in. That was always a culture, especially for me growing up in Brazil. There was never any space for that. And a lot of times in my life, I wish that had been something that we were okay to talk about, especially because, you know, I left my family, I left everyone in Brazil, and I came here all by myself, you know, so I had really hard time of, you know, different culture, different language, you know, lots of barriers to get through. And I could never really talk about anything. I just had to suck it up and do it, you know. So it's something that for sure, you know, if I could go back in time and be nicer to me, even on the self-talk stuff, you know, even if I had more access to being nicer to myself, I would have changed a lot of things in that sense.
Yeah. I think I'm like, now when people are like, oh, you could take a day off and just relax. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah.
You mean you can relax? So I still feel like I'm catching up on sleep from 2001. But you know, 21 years later, I think I've made up for like 2001 and 2, but I'm still trying to make up for 2003 to now. But, you know, here with Anna Pego in this exclusive first conversation since accepting the job as Moyne Dolphins volleyball head coach here on the Heights, coming to America and, like you said, volleyball opening the door, leaving, and like you said, there's a language barrier, you're leaving your whole family behind. How did you muster up the courage to do that? Where did that courage and that confidence and belief in yourself come from to make such a life change? I mean, there's people that live in Massachusetts and get recruited to Nebraska and find it very difficult to be away from their family. I know people that work down at Disney with me in Florida whose families in North Carolina acted like they were halfway around the world. So how did you make such a change and be so strong about it in a world that could have been really scary? And I'm sure at times maybe it was.
Yeah. You know, my parents have always been very, very supportive, and they, you know, I grew up earlier in the sense of, you know, I left home really early to go play in a different city, which is about a 9-hour drive from my hometown. So I had to grow up earlier in that sense of becoming more mature and going after my own things. But I would say what really gave me the courage was everything that the sport had taught me. You know, leaving a small town and going into a big city, even in Brazil. You know, I used to live in a 15,000 population, you know, in a small town, and then I went into a 5 million city. So it was a big change, and it could have been scary, but I've played sports for so long, and my coaches have always been inspiring on going through things and doing the hard things and telling me that I can do it and I can be more and I can do more. And I think that through the sport gives you the confidence, you know, gives you the confidence and gives you the courage to do harder things. You know, playing volleyball, it's not easy to go on the ground. It's not easy to go pursue a ball that is on the bench, but you go anyways and you throw your ball out there because you become courageous. You know, you become courageous because you have this drive that you don't want to you don't want to let the ball drop. And that kind of translates into your life. You know, you want more for your life. And then because the sport have given you the confidence and the courage, then you translate that into your personal life and your everyday actions.
Coming here from Anna Pego, Moyne Dolphins volleyball head coach, new head coach, exclusive first conversation here on Dolphin Dive inside of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe QBs studios. When you're at New Haven, a part of the NE10 in Division II as far as conference goes, you were handpicked by the head coach, Robin Salters, to be her successor. And there was an interesting story of how you were there as head coach having a fantastic season and then, you know, had to figure out, you know, some things and then find your way to UNC Charlotte. How did you handle the adversity of having that great news at New Haven and then kind of, you know, share your story, whatever you'd like to share about how you got the job, things were going great, and then there was things you had to take care of, obviously, off the court, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, a hurtful situation, but I believe that everything happens for a reason. And I feel today, looking back, that there were blessings in everything that happened. Being picked to lead the team after Robin retired was probably one of the biggest honors that I've ever received in my life. She had built a phenomenal culture in that program with so many years of championship. I was a part of those championships, and I wanted to continue that tradition. But again, I am from Brazil. I am an immigrant. And during that time, I was going through immigration status change. So a lot of things were happening in the country back then, change in leadership in the country, changes in immigration laws. So a lot of things were happening that were outside of our control, outside of my control, outside of New Haven's control. And unfortunately, my status change was denied. So there was nothing that I could have done or that they could have done to keep me. So it wasn't anything that happened that, it was just the way things work. But I would say I had a hard time, initially it was heartbreaking for me, for the team, because I had been working with them since January, and then mid-season for that to happen. That was very unfortunate. But at the same time, I stayed on the sidelines. I helped Robin finish the season because she was not ready to go back and coach anymore. But we worked together just like we did, through the years before. And we've finished it up, still highly ranked in region, hosted the regional tournament. And, I was lucky because I was right there, right? So I could still be a part of that, still hang out with the team. So I could finish the season, and that was important for me. I was not on staff anymore, but I still finished that season. And then after that was, I could cry about it, or I could suck it up and figure out what to do next. So that's what I did. I pursued another route for immigration to change my status. It took forever. It took a very, very long time. It took a lot of effort, a lot of money that I invested in it, but it happened, and it happened while I was in Charlotte. So it was a blessing there. And now I'm good. Now I've become a resident, so everything is settled. And again, I prefer to look at the blessings in the middle of all of that storm.
So for you, what have been the blessings of the storm?
Well, I continue to coach, right? That was my goal. That was the reason why I decided to stay in the United States. So when I went to New Haven, I think I mentioned that I was a science major, right? So when I went to New Haven, I was actually pursuing a master's degree in environmental science. So my original goal was to go back and work for a conservation program in Brazil that deals with turtles on the coast. That was my dream then. That was something that I wanted to do, that I was passionate about. And I always, I've always been involved with volleyball. I've coached, I played for so long. So it was just part of who I am, but I never really saw that as a profession, especially because there are very, very few women coaches in Brazil. So that was never something that I really considered, But then I got to New Haven, and Robin saw something in me, and she really spent the time to teach me more and to mentor me as a coach, and invest in me in that sense. That halfway through my master's degree, I said, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Now I want to coach. So what do I need to do in order to coach? So I changed. I finished that major, and then I got a new master's in sport management, so that I could be better qualified to coach. So that was the blessing. The blessing is that I put my mind to coach and stay here for that. I found this to be my vocation. It's not even a profession anymore. I think that's who I am. That's who I've always been. I didn't know that then, but I get to stay here and do what I really love and help guide, other players that like me can find the courage to do what they want and go after what they want.
Marine biology, which we're
Yeah.
studying. A little bit different than volleyball.
Very right.
And you talked about looking, at helping turtles back in Brazil in a conservation effort. Where did that passion come from? And who's going to help the turtles now that you're a volleyball coach?
Actually, so I have quite a few of the people that I went to school with are doing a lot of conservation on the Gulf now. So that makes me a little happy. And I still get involved a little bit on the Brazil project through donations, so not really through the work. But so I'm from a state that is not close to the coast in Brazil, but my grandma lives on the coast. So I grew up going to her house, and we used to go to the beach. And there were, always the nests covered up. So I used to go and volunteer and be there sitting and waiting for the turtles to hatch and see them coming out. And it's the most beautiful thing ever, in my opinion. And that's why marine biology.
So for you, now that you say, being a volleyball coach is not just a job, it's your vocation, how do you see the turtles hatch in volleyball? How do you see your student athletes grow, evolve, and go off on their own, essentially?
I never thought of that. That's really good. I think, my job as a coach is to help them see more in themselves, and extract more of that outwardly, right? I think there's a lot that can be translated from, developing discipline and drive through training that can be translated into the everyday life. I think that as a mentor, as a coach, as a mentor, it's important that they know that adversity are something that you can get through, right? And the mentality of never giving up. What I call is, developing a championship behavior for everything, for your everyday life, right? You want to win at everything, and that competitiveness of being better and win at everything, not necessarily beat somebody else, but win at everything that you do and achieve your goals in that sense. So I think that my job is really to inspire and develop and extract the best that they can give, to see them get in the water and then go do their thing,
It's a good way to put it. Anna Pego here with me on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We do something called rapid fire. And what it is it allows us to talk about literally anything. Doesn't have to do with volleyball. It can, doesn't have to. But it's 3 questions apiece. Nothing's prepared. I can ask you anything. You can ask me anything. But we have to answer the question. Can be music, can be movies, can be hobbies, can be literally anything. So we're going to play some rapid fire in this exclusive first conversation with Anna Pego, since being hired as the Moyne Dolphins volleyball head coach. I'm going to let you ask me the first question.
What's your favorite Division I conference?
Here at Division I conference. It's tough. I would say I love the ACC and I love the American. The American I was with. So when I started my company 10 years ago in a few months, because 10-year anniversary this year. So July 20th of 2012 to now. So when I started Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, the American was literally starting. So we I called us redheaded stepchildren. We were learning to grow together. And I was arm in arm with the commissioner, Mike Oresco, saying, like, we're going to help each other do this. Like, we're going to be successful and we're going to help each other get there. And I just had my 10-year anniversary. They're going to have their 10-year anniversary in a few months. So I love the American because it's very personal for me. The ACC, because my hometown, Syracuse, is in it. But I would say growing up as a kid, I mean, I'm a Big East kid. And I love the Big East basketball, the physicality of it all. You know, I miss it. I like going to Madison Square Garden. I just saw the Big East tournament here in 2022, and everybody was there except for Syracuse, so it felt weird. But yeah, I mean, I'd probably say the American, which is a part of the old Big East, and then the ACC is half of the old Big East. So I guess in answering the question, I'm kind of saying the Big East, but yeah, that would be my answer.
Okay.
All right. Favorite Brazilian word and favorite Brazilian food? Because you know I have a favorite Brazilian word.
Yes, I do. Favorite word, you know, it's such a weird question because it's my language. You know, it's like, what's your favorite word in English?
My favorite word in English, I don't know. Won't be my favorite word in English. Maybe juxtaposition, onomatopoeia, something that's just, you know, kind of off the wall a little bit. But maybe what would be my favorite American English word? Not triggered. If I could throw a word in the garbage, it would be the word triggered. If I have to hear one more person say whatever makes me triggered, I can't deal with it anymore. I genuinely can't deal with the word anymore. So I guess my better question is, what is my least favorite word? But maybe I'll say this: since you grew up speaking Portuguese, what is your favorite translation in English? Like your favorite, maybe what's your favorite American slang or phrase?
Oh, I never thought of those before. I like what's up.
Okay.
You know, it can be everything and anything and used at any time in the day.
Okay.
For absolutely everything. So you don't, if I don't know what to say, I just say what's up, you know.
Yeah. I like that. It's an icebreaker. What'd you say?
Yeah. This is just very useful.
Yeah, no, it is. Favorite food from Brazil.
I do have a favorite word in Brazil. I like the word for rain.
Okay.
Which is chuva.
Chuva.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
My favorite word, as you know, off the air is it's a word. So when I was working at Walt Disney World, I asked the girls from Brazil, because we had a bunch of Brazilians working at Epcot, where I was working in outdoor foods. So I asked them to tell me words that I could use as other words. And so I said, give me like a pretty word that I could kind of like utilize in a different way just to be funny. And so they taught me geladeira. And when you say it, I said, I was like, if there's a candlelit dinner and there's a woman across from you and you look her in the eyes and you're very serious, you're dressed up nice, and you take her hand and you say, geladeira. It sounds like I love you, right? It sounds beautiful, but it means refrigerator. So geladeira. I hope a lot of people that watch this forget what I said, but geladeira is my favorite word because it's such a beautiful word that means refrigerator. So that's my favorite word.
It's funny.
I like chuva though. That's good. I like that for rain. Okay.
Yeah, good one. Favorite food? Well, favorite Brazilian food, you said?
Yeah.
There's a fish dish. It's a fish seafood dish called moqueca. That's one of the things that I grew up eating at my grandma's, and it's probably one of my favorites.
What's in the dish?
It's fish and seafood, and it has like a kind of a creamy sauce with coconut milk.
Okay, so a little sweet.
Not sweet. And then you use palm oil for it too. So it's very, I don't know if palm oil is a thing here, but instead of regular different oils, it's palm oil. and it's spicy. It gives it a little bit of spice. It's a heavy oil that's spicy.
Okay, I like that. And what's it called again? Say that again.
Moqueca.
Moqueca. Okay. Do you know what type of fish it is?
I know in Portuguese.
Okay. What is it in Portuguese?
It's saltwater fish, right? It's ocean fish. It's called robalo.
Okay. Okay. I like it. See, everything sounds better in Portuguese. It does.
It does. Actually, food-wise, you're not wrong.
No, it does. Food sounds like very appetizing. I feel like vegetarians could hear a meat dish and be like, well, you know what? I'll try it. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
What's your second question for me?
You mentioned, mental health and everything, from growing up. How, now that you're, advocate for sports, how has this transition been about talking about it? Especially when, you're probably dealing with a lot of different coaches, coaches that have been coaching for a long time, and then coaches that are starting just like myself. So
yeah.
How had the talk been for you?
About mental health?
Mm-hmm.
I would say, for me, it's been a journey because I know that my self-talk growing up was not good. It was very poor. And I was very hard on myself and bullied in a way that I let seep in. And I had to learn where it was coming from and what it was doing. And I think that it's been a journey my whole life to really work on mental health and just being there for myself, because I always found it easy to be there for other people. And I found myself pushing people further in the race, but I was just standing. And when it came to good self-talk and positive reinforcement. So I think what I learned is outside noise belongs outside by definition, and that you really have to know who you are, and you have to trust God. I when I get confused by something or don't really know where the right message is coming from, I always say a prayer. I say, God, please help me to hear your voice through all the rest. May I know which one is yours, and may I know what voices are not. And if I know which one is yours, then just let me follow that one. So at the beginning of COVID, I was going through a really tough time in my personal life, and there was change that was going on. I was like, you know what? I need to do something for myself. So I got out and I started walking. And when I first started walking, it was out of feeling trapped in the house. It was frustration. It was anger. It was being upset. And it turned into, okay, I'm going to do it again. Okay, 10 days, 20 days, 40 days, 200 days, 300 days. And this healthy mind, healthy body, healthy body, healthy mind. What I realized in doing that was, if I wanted my mind to be strong, I had to be good to my body. And if I wanted my body to be strong, I needed to start thinking better and more clearly. I always pray, but I was not having clarity of mind. And I think when you can have clarity of mind, it changes you. So I am a very peaceful man. I see where stress is coming from. I ask it nicely to leave. And when it doesn't, then I just take it out. I just say, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to stay away from that person or that thing. And I've really just, as I've grown older, I've grown more kind to myself and realized that if you want something done, you really just have to hunker down and do the work. And that's what it comes down to.
Okay, very good.
Let's say that. All right, my second question for you, totally different than what you just asked me.
Good.
If you had to choose, if you could go on tour with 3 singers or bands or a combination of both, who would you go on tour and sing on stage with?
Bon Jovi, number 1.
Okay.
That would be my first pick. Do they have to be alive?
No. No.
Okay. My second one would be Linkin Park.
Okay.
And then well, I have to sing with them.
Yep.
Um, Well, a little different. I would go with elevation worship.
Okay. All right. I like that. So why did you pick those three?
Um, well, I think I grew up listening to Bon Jovi. You know, my uncle was a big fan. That's all we listened to in the house. And I still listen to them, you know, even though it's been forever. They're still going, and it's one of the few people that I actually follow on social media to know what they're doing, what's coming out that's new. So it's just a band that I followed for a very long time, and I still like their music. They're still making music, you know, music like true music, not words that are throwing out there
Yeah.
to the beat of something. um, Linkin Park was my favorite band when I was a teenager. And you know, so crazy story. They were while I was at New Haven, they were coming to Connecticut. They were gonna be at the casino at Mohegan.
Yeah.
In the summer, like later in the summer, and that was actually the year that Chester took his life. So I was never able to see them live. So that's something that I would have loved to have had a chance to do. And then Elevation. So I'm actually in Charlotte. So they're based here, and it's my favorite worship band. Their songs are awesome. They're just so electric and just beautiful music. And I really enjoy it. I think that's one of the things that I listen to the most.
Okay. I like that. And I can appreciate that style of music, that type of music, and the faith that comes with it. So good answer. I like it. What's your final one?
From Syracuse, right? So 2 questions. Your favorite restaurant in Syracuse and your favorite thing to do there.
Well, as a business owner, we partner with a lot of restaurants, so you will genuinely get me in trouble with the answer to this question. So I would say I'm going to pick, so of the local restaurants I work with, I'm going to pick a dish at each place.
Okay, that's fair.
So at Avicoli's, I would say
take some notes just so you know.
Yeah, write some down. So Avicoli's, veal parmesan, margarita pizza, barbecue chicken pizza. At 317 at Montgomery, short rib, because it reminds me of working at Disney, and their coconut shrimp. Let me think here. Wildcat Sports Pub, the chicken Caesar wrap, and the Kama fries, which are like curved with salt and pepper. Those are really good. And then I would say at Pizza Man, I like spicy. So they have lemon pepper wings, and which are like zesty, and then they have spicy. They have sweet heat pizza, which has pepperoni and meatball, and it has Mike's Hot Honey on it. And they drizzle the honey. I take the Mike's Hot Honey and I literally put it on like jelly, and I put it like all over my. It's insane. It's like I use probably like 75% over the daily like amount that you should use for spice of that, but I love spicy stuff. So I would say that. And I want to make sure I'm not leaving anybody out. So definitely the sweet heat. And then I would say of the restaurants, I also really like a place called Lasca's, and that's out in Auburn. Their food is Italian food, and they have just huge plates and just great desserts, and they have this bread that they make there, and they have a red sauce, but it's not marinara sauce. It's a red sauce, but it's got like it's almost like red with like a salsa feel to it, and it's spicy, so that's really good. And I eat way too much of that. I would say at PB&J's Lunchbox, I'd probably pick their chili. And at Mother's Cupboard, all their breakfasts are great. Their omelets are great. I get ham, cheese, and broccoli, and they have really good cinnamon swirl French toast. So I think I covered all my places there.
Okay.
Favorite thing to do in Syracuse? I would say, honestly, to drive out to a spot. We have so many naturally beautiful places. So I'm a romantic. It's just who I am. God made me this way, and I blame him for that. So I like to find places that are quiet. I like to find places on earth that are still quiet. And there's so much adventure with wildlife and just like trees and different pieces of nature and water where you won't find a lot of people. So I value getting in the car, taking a ride, which is something my dad taught me, and just stopping at a place, going where like you just your gut kind of takes you, your heart takes you, pull over and have an adventure. So I'm an adventure seeker of nature and very peaceful settings. So that's what I look for. I look for places that people can't just be like, oh yeah, like everybody's been there. I like to find places that I can find and have as my own, spot.
Okay.
My last one for you. Okay. If I came to Brazil, I've never been there. So if I came to Brazil, and I only know what people have told me from work and what I've seen, if we went to 3 places in Brazil, where would you take me that you think would be an adequate representation of Brazil?
An adequate representation is a tough one. It's a really big country.
I know.
I would say, just Rio, definitely. Most famous. Culturally, you get a little bit of everything that it's highly publicized about what Brazil is. I'm gonna be biased, obviously, just so you know.
Okay.
So I would say Rio. You're gonna get the carnival experience. You're gonna get all the tourist attractions. The beautiful natural landscape that it's there, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Totally deserving. The water, it's nice. And just beautiful people. Honestly, it's a beautiful place. Both you get the city attraction it's a city that caters to the tourist. So there's stuff to do all the time. So definitely one that you can see a lot. So I'm from Belo Horizonte, which is in the mountains. So definitely choose my city.
Okay.
And you get a little bit different because it's not, it's not in on the ocean, right? It's not on the coast. So, but we have the most beautiful waterfalls, beautiful hiking places, camping grounds, which is probably something that you don't know that Brazil is known for, but a lot of fresh water, lots of, places to fish, and just a lot of canyons. So there are some freshwater canyons in there that are just beautiful, close by to Belo. And then third place, I would choose Salvador, which is the capital of Bahia state. And I think if you really want to get into the culture of knowing what Brazil is actually is, that's the place. So it was the first capital of the country, when Brazil was, when the Portuguese people were arriving and colonizing Brazil then. And, Brazil has a huge history of slave trade. So it's a fantastic city that has a lot of African traditions, but it's also very old in the buildings. It's just very culturally protected. So you'd be able to see a lot of that. And it's probably one that have stayed the same instead of catering so much to the tourism like Rio has, So you'd be able to really see and definitely the best food, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, that's a good representation of Brazil. A bunch of things that I did not know. Definitely not the camping side or the waterfalls and the historical part of it as well. So that coming from Ana Pego, your new head coach for Moyne Volleyball, and you are starting January 1st, right? Right at the beginning of the year, you're starting.
Yes, January 1st.
So starting here on the Heights very soon, and appreciate the fact that you took some time here on the Dolphin Dive today to dive into your story and your journey to get to Lemoyne. Congratulations again on taking the position and having the opportunity here, and very much looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to breaking out and dusting off my Portuguese and seeing what I can learn.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. And we'll work on that Portuguese. And, got to plan a trip. You got to go over there. Like, what are you doing? You just got to go.
I've heard good things. I've just never been there. So I was like, I need, my friend Priscilla that I worked with at Epcot and Walt Disney World that I told you about off the air. She would say that, oh, come down, you got to see it. And I was like, well, I need to know that people I know are going to be there. You know what I mean? Like, let's show me around. Don't just drop me in Brazil. I mean, if you did, I'll figure it out. I know that I'm somebody that can be on my own. I've traveled to most of the places I've been to by myself, but I would like to. It's a massive country, and so I would like to. And I know that if I went to Brazil and I didn't see people that I had made friendships with, they would kill me if I didn't let them know that I was in Brazil. But I definitely would look forward to it. I mean, it's like I said, Portuguese, beautiful language, and very hardworking people. I have nothing but good things to say about everybody that came over from Brazil to Epcot. It was a great experience of getting to kind of see a window into the life, but seeing the country, I'm sure, would be totally different.
Yeah, definitely worth it. So start planning.
Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and
and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. This is a special message from 317 at Montgomery restaurant owner Joel Carpenter. Open Tuesday through Saturday for your dining pleasure on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York.
We wanted to be a part of the resurgence of Syracuse. We saw a lot of money being put into bringing people back downtown and thought that, we'd like to be a part of that. I love putting together a good dish where people see it first, they fall in love with it, and then it tastes just as good as it looks. We want to provide the best food in Syracuse that we possibly can, and we want you to leave here talking to your family, your friends about what you had to eat first and foremost, but also our service, and to walk out feeling like you're part of our family. I work out in the front of the house a lot, and I love walking to every single table, asking them how everything is, and people looking at me and smiling and saying, this is the most amazing short rib I've ever had. This is the most amazing filet I've ever had. And Donna is great. Sarah's amazing. Thank you for coming over and talking to us. And then them just being truly happy for the experience that they've gotten.
317 at Montgomery Restaurant, part of the fabric of downtown Syracuse, located on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York. Open Tuesday through Saturday for a unique and memorable dining experience. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, and happy to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports meets that thing called life. I hope you're having yourselves a great morning. I hope you're celebrating your Christmas and holiday and Hanukkah week and having a grand old time. I love Christmas week. I'm so excited. My faith is very, very important to me and crucial in my life. I mean, I wouldn't be me without it. So I'm grateful to God. I wouldn't be here without God. I wouldn't know anything without God. I wouldn't have gotten through anything without God. I would be nothing without God. So to be here today and to say thank you takes nothing. And so I want to make sure that I do that this morning and say, thank you to God. I have this right here in my studio every day. It says, you can see it. Can you see it? Let's see if you could see the words. There we go. Kind of see it. It says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. There we go. I am the way, the truth, and the life. John 14:6. So, to me, this isn't just, ooh, I get gifts. I actually like giving them more than getting them. So, it's not like, oh, I get presents. It's, I love saying thank you to God. And I can't thank God enough for the life that I have. My life is incredible. And it's been incredibly amazing. And I found comedy in all of the hard stuff and gotten through it with God. And I'm just happy to be here. There was days where I didn't know if I could get here, if I would get here. And then I got here, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful to be here, to have gotten here. So, that's my Merry Christmas. And I hope that you all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays and a Happy Hanukkah and whatever celebration you're celebrating. I hope you celebrate it well, To me, when I say Merry Christmas, I'm also saying Happy Holidays because I'm speaking from my heart to yours. I'm speaking from my faith to you. So, know that I send that with love. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, it is time for us to get in our conversation with Dino Babers. I had multiple Q&As with Dino on National Signing Day, which was yesterday, and I want to share all those with you today. They will be available individually on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, so you can
listen to them, watch them, share them whenever, and those will be shared on our social media, on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT, and you're going to be able to watch and listen to them here this morning as we start with my conversation with Dino, first and foremost, on recruiting the state of New York.
Coach, you talked about it, recruiting the state of New York and the most that you've had since you've been here. Just what you can say about the importance of keeping the home state home and what you saw from the gentleman that you did get signing opportunities from here on the first signing day.
Excited about keeping them home, no doubt. Excited about the people that we have signed. And opening press conference, I remember we talked about this. I said, I just don't want to recruit people from the state of New York. I want to recruit people that are going to show up and play in games so that not only their families and their loved ones can support them, but also the state of New York can get behind their own. This is a fabulous class. This was the state of New York showing off. I really think that these players are not only good football players, I think they're players that are going to be contributing greatly to our football team in the future.
That coming from Dino Babers about this, he said, I don't just want to recruit the state of New York. He wanted to recruit people that could come in and make a difference and to have an impact. And he said, I think this year this class is showing out. The state of New York is the largest when it comes to where Syracuse got their recruits from in the incoming 2023 class. The highest number came from the state of New York with 4, with David Clement from Albany, from Christian Brothers Academy in Albany, who's been on the show a bunch of times, as Zion Moultrie-Goddard, who's been on the show as well, coming to us from Iona Prep in the Bronx. Rashard Perry, who just won a state title, coming out of Buffalo, playing at Bennett. So very happy to know that he's coming to Syracuse as well, and congratulate him on his championship. And Jalil Smith, who's been on the show a bunch of times, out of Brooklyn. And Jalil Smith coming from Abraham Lincoln High School, where some of my friends hail from. So shout out to Jalil Smith as well. So with that being said, we continue the conversation with Dino. Jaeden Gould is somebody that I covered in his recruitment, had a ton of offers all over the country from many, many schools that you know as household names. Syracuse was one of the schools that recruited him. He went to Nebraska, and he's now transferring into Syracuse at corner, which is huge if he can come in, play, and be effective right away, God willing, because Deuce Chestnut and Garrett Williams, the 2 starting corners of Syracuse, are now gone. Deuce to the transfer portal, Garrett to the NFL draft, which means that Syracuse needs their corners right away, and having somebody with experience like Jaeden Gould is a big help. And so I asked Dino about re-recruiting Jaeden, recruiting him for a second time, and his positives and negative thoughts about the transfer portal, where he, obviously got Jaeden from.
Coach, Jaeden Gould, who we just heard is now, officially all set to come here. You had recruited him the first time around. Getting him the second time around, just what you can say about him transferring in and what that conversation was like to essentially re-recruit him.
First of all, you know how I am. I don't like to go too much individual. So what I will say is I'm excited that he's here. And I will go back to, let's talk about the difference between recruiting somebody the first time, a high school freshman, where they're taking 5 visits for the very first time, compared to a transfer portal young man who's already gone through those 5 visits. And now when they come into my office, it's totally different. They don't want to go out. They can do the visit in one day. They want to look at their position coach. They want to look at their positions. They want to see how they're going to be used. They're looking at your offense and defense. They are breaking it down at a graduate assistant coach's level, because now they're making a business decision. The lights, the glamours, their friends being in certain places. All that stuff was important the first time around. But the second time around, they want to make sure it's a fit for them, because this is the last opportunity that they get. So the conversations are a lot different than with the high school guys.
And kind of going off of that, the positives and negatives of the transfer portal that you've experienced as a coach, knowing that it's constantly growing, it seems like.
The positives is you get an opportunity to, get different personnel or players at the top of the food chain, seniors, juniors, or go back and get smaller ones. when you say the negatives, I just think the transfer portal is here to stay, and along with all the things that come along with it. Young people have the right to change their mind. And actually, if you're 17 and 18, you might need to change your mind. 21, 22, not so much. The thing that I will say is that, I know two of the guys that went into the transfer portal for us, they already have their Syracuse degrees. And if you come to a school and you graduate from that school, I am 100% with you that you should have the ability to go somewhere else if you want. I would be very reluctant to think that they could find a better degree than Syracuse, but after you get a Syracuse degree, to have the opportunity to play the game that you love 1 or 2 more years before you give it up, I think that's a right that everybody should have.
So, Dino, talking about that, the transfer portal believes it's here to stay. I agree with him. And, coming off of that, discussing the fact of, I think young people should have the right to change their minds. I agree with that, as long as you're not running away from a challenge, as long as you're not running away from adversity, because I'm a firm believer if you run away from it, you'll just find it in another alley. It'll just find you. If you don't take the test that God gives you, he continues to give you those tests until you take them. And I'm a firm believer in that. Until you take the test and pass the test, he's going to keep giving you the test. If you don't pass the test, he's going to give it to you again. If you refuse to take it, he's going to give it to you again. Because in the life that I know, until you take the test and pass the test, you don't move forward, right? And it's the same thing in school. If you don't take the test and pass the test, you can't move forward. You can't go to the next grade. You can't go on to the next thing, because you have to learn. You have to grow. And I think, I believe that people could change their minds, and I believe that, the transfer portal has some positives to it and allows people an out from bad situations. I agree with that. I also agree that there needs to be more monitoring of, how this thing is used and why this thing is used and what the reasoning is for somebody jumping into the portal. And I think that, we need to be very cognizant of making sure that this is not just people running from a situation, because if that's the case and those people don't learn, then they will run from their jobs, they will run from their relationships, and then the transfer portal has helped to create a bunch of monsters, which is not what I want. Where I think the transfer portal can be a great thing. It can allow us to move forward when we're in a bad situation, right? I go to a school, the coach leaves, a new coach comes in, there's no respect there, I'm not his guy, he doesn't want me, he puts me at the bottom of the depth chart, he's never going to play me because he didn't recruit me and he's got a giant ego. Well, then I should be able to leave. Or, I just don't feel right. Maybe I don't like my teachers, maybe I don't like that situation, maybe I, moved across the country and I don't want to be as far away from home. Whatever it may be. So, I think there's a lot of reasons to enter the transfer portal, and I think we just need to monitor what they are, what reason you have for being in there, and make sure that we're not having people run away from teachable moments. I think that's important. I do think the transfer portal is here to stay. I don't think you can put the genie back in the lamp. But if it is here to stay, then I think that we need to make sure that we utilize it for positives. And everything in life can come with a negative. I just think we need to be very diligent and purposeful about how we treat this transfer portal and the rules that we put around it to try and create some type of responsibility to the school and to the student athlete. With that being said, Dino and I continue our conversation with his elevating of Jason Beck from quarterbacks coach to offensive coordinator, and decision to bring in Rocky Long as defensive coordinator.
Having Jason here on staff already and then making the decision to elevate him to offensive coordinator, just what went into that for you and why that was the right fit, and then bringing in Rocky Long and knowing that 3-3-5 connection and how successful it's been for you, just why you brought in him.
Well, I'm going to start with Rocky. We've gone down this road before, and it didn't work out so well the first time we tried to get it done. But I really do appreciate all the people and the people out in the media that that gave us the time and allowed us to get it done this time. Tony White did a fantastic job for him. We wish him nothing but the best in his new career move to that other school. And but to have an opportunity to get Rocky Long, you guys, this guy, you got to meet him. And I mean, I'm embarrassed to say this, and I'm going to get talked about, but I'll say it anyway. The guy is stronger than me in the weight room, and I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy. About it at all. But you're talking about an extremely fit man that is the number 2 guy in this defense. The guy that started this defense was Joe Lee Dunn. But Rocky Long was taught by Joe Lee Dunn, and he's the standing Jedi Master that's still around. And if you want to learn it, this is the guy that you need to learn it from. And I can still visualize his first talk in front of the defensive players. And when he got done, I was excited. But when the players came back around my office, they were like, "Coach," I said, "I told you guys, just hold on. I told you." And I think it's going to be a really, really good thing. When it goes back to the Jason Beck, I think Jason Beck has been one of those guys that's done a fantastic job with the quarterbacks across the country. When you put his record with quarterbacks and some of the quarterbacks and the numbers that I've been able to do as a head coach in my career, I think it's a natural. Coach and I was extremely, I asked him his opinion. He was extremely high on the young man. I was really impressed with him the first year here. And I think that between the combination of what he's learned so far and what we're going to give him here, I think he's going to have one of those guys that's going to be launching off into another fantastic career, kind of like a Sean Lewis or something to that effect. I really expect big things out of him in the future as he learns and he grows.
That coming from Dino Babers here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studio, saying a lot of great things about Jason Beck, who he elevated from quarterbacks coach to offensive coordinator. He mentioned Sean Lewis, who was his co-offensive coordinator when he came into Syracuse. Sean Lewis went on from Syracuse and became the head coach at Kent State, and now he is working with Deion Sanders in Colorado as an assistant. So, he talked about Jason Beck saying, hey, and what I heard in that was, hey, Jason Beck's going to be my offensive coordinator, but I fully expect him to grow, and I expect him to become a head coach somewhere else. I expect that he's going to do well here, and he's going to move on. So, Dino kind of set in that future here now, making that statement of, if and when that happens, like, hey, I told you back then he's my offensive coordinator, but he's going to grow into something else. And then Rocky Long, I love that when he said, I told my guys to hold on. I told the guys here, hold on, and bring in Rocky Long. And he's, guys coming to my locker room after he talked to the defense, and they're so excited and this and that. And he's like, I told them, you just have to hold on. So I thought that was big too. And, you look at Tony White, and everybody's like, oh, 3-3-5, is it going to work? And it worked great the last 3 years under Tony White. Tony White learned from Rocky Long. So you lose Tony White, you lose the Jedi to get the master of the 3-3-5, and you get to keep your defense, which is a beautiful thing. Continuing on here in the conversation, I asked Dino about bringing in 5 offensive linemen because obviously you build from the trenches out if you want to win a championship. I took that to heart from George O'Leary, and I believe it to this day. And, bringing in 5 offensive linemen to a line that really needs help, needs depth, and needs guys to step up and be consistent starters is what Dino had to say.
Coach, you mentioned the importance of being in the trenches with this class 5 offensive linemen. Just what you can say about what you brought in and what these gentlemen show that can maybe be effective right away. I know center is a position where you shifted a lot of different guys, and you brought in John Reed and all that. So just what you see from this offensive line group.
I see some guys that are bigger. Okay, I see some guys with, some attitude, and extremely intelligent. And if we can get those type of guys and get them bigger and stronger and faster, and then get them on the football field and keep them healthy, I think that we're going to have some really, really good days ahead.
Last one.
You talk about attitude, right? Guys, and you do. I mean, this team needs some guys with attitude, and listen, they're getting some guys with attitude on this offensive line, I'm going to tell you that. definitely Jaeden Reed. I mentioned him there to Dino. Jaeden will be doing a special with me to honor his signing with Syracuse. He's coming out of Houston, Texas, from Eisenhower High School, and most recently was in Kansas at Hutchinson Community College. So very happy to speak on him. I mean, I could definitely catch his attitude that he has, and also going to be doing a special with Joe Moore and airing that. He's out of Franklin, Tennessee, and he's transferring after spending 5 seasons at the University of Richmond, taking advantage of his 6th year that was created by COVID, providing an extra year to student athletes that were in school when they lost time. So, definitely excited to see the attitude, excited to see guys come in and play right away, and to see people that have already gotten collegiate experience that are transferring into Syracuse, because Syracuse needs that, right? There's some true freshmen that maybe they can come in and maybe they can, help right away or be a part of the rotation, but you're hoping those guys that have had experience at the collegiate level can step in and really do something immediately for a team that desperately needs help on the offensive line. So I'm excited for that and excited to see what that's going to turn into at Syracuse. And I appreciate Dino Babers answering my questions that I had posed about a lot of different things, from recruiting to the transfer portal, which obviously connects back to recruiting, and to his offensive and defensive coordinator decisions. And interim defensive coordinator remains the same. So Rocky Long is with the team, but Nick Monroe, Dino gave Nick Monroe the interim defensive coordinator post for the bowl game, for the Pinstripe Bowl, and he is keeping that. So he gave his word. He's keeping his word. Good to see him doing that. I appreciate people that keep their word. As Floyd Little said to me and a bunch of people that were around him the day that I met him, he said, "Your word is the most valuable thing you own. If you don't keep your word, you're not worth anything. So you have no value. You have no worth if you don't keep your word." And I'll never forget that he said that, and I took that to heart. And so I definitely appreciate Dino for keeping his word to Nick Monroe. With that being said, on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, right down the road from Liverpool High School, within walking distance. They've served our community for decades, and they look forward to serving you today for lunch, dinner, and drinks. Of course, drink responsibly and get some amazing food from Avicoli's. Everything I've tried there has been good. All different pastas I've had, with chicken, with shrimp, my veal parmesan sub that I love there, the margarita pizza, the barbecue chicken pizza. I love it all, and you can go and get it at Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. Make sure you let them know that Wake Up Call sent you their way. So we'll do a very special Ingredients to Success, and we'll connect that with the incoming 2023 recruiting class for Syracuse football right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, inside of the Cafe Kubal studios.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5, Camillus, where you will find handcrafted all-natural soy wax candles over 60 cents to freshen up your home. We carry a wide range of locally made items, salsa Cuse, Syracuse salt, and chocolate pizza company, to name a few. Let our knowledgeable staff help choose unique gifts and keepsakes for any occasion. Gifts for family and friends, and maybe a little something for yourself. Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5, Camillus.
This is a special message from Merritt Brady, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York.
Chick-fil-A for me has always been about the people. I think it starts with the strength and leadership of the Cathy family. It's just amazing to see a family-run business reach the altitude that they have. Second mile service is something that we embodied at my previous business, and the ability to make people feel like they're the only person at your establishment, that you are there to serve them that day and looking for those extra ways to make them happy, to anticipate what they need next is what makes me tick. And I'm going to have so many opportunities at Chick-fil-A to do that. It's one of my favorite things to eat in the world. My favorite application question or interview question when I'm interviewing is when I get to, have you ever eaten at Chick-fil-A? And a smile hits both their ears. You know, they can't even answer the question for a second. And when I see that, it's like, man, that's going to be a great hire. They already get it. They already feel it. They already know that we're different. The Chick-fil-A experience, it's a real thing. And then, of course, just our generosity and community involvement and making a positive impact in the lives of our team members, our guests, and the community in general, I think is really the secret sauce.
Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York. Coming to you, fall 2022. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here. Cafe Kubal in our community on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse. You can also go to Cafe Kubal on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse. And you could go and see them at their manliest location, 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. And make sure you head out there today. Let them know the Wake Up Call sent you. And we appreciate you for going out and supporting local. Inside of these Cafe Kubal studios, our Witty Wicks candles always burn bright. Love my Witty Wicks candles. Natural ingredients made in-house right here in our community at Witty Wicks. Shout out to Aaron and the team that do an incredible job at just cranking these out, because these Witty Wicks candles, they go fast. People love the scents, and they are getting after them in big, big ways. And I'm so happy I got my Namaste at home because they didn't have many left. They had to go get one in the back for me. So I am very grateful for this because I keep buying the big ones because I keep them lit a lot here in studio. The 315 Home Sweet Home signs, the Cuse pillow, and the 315 pillow, those are all from Witty Wicks. And you can go out to Witty Wicks today for local products. You could shop at Witty Wicks, which is local. You can get local products that are, products that are made locally, and you can get local spotlit products, which are the 315 products, as well as, everything that says Upstate that I wear, and 315 and all of that, products that are made to support our local community. So it's local upon local upon local at Witty Wicks. You voted them your top gift shop spot, and I thank you so much for doing that, and I look forward to seeing you out there on 190 Township Boulevard in Camillus, New York, right in front of Movie Tavern. With that being said, it's time to get into our final piece of today's broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and that is to take a look at the 2023 incoming recruiting class for Syracuse football. And I'm going to connect it to the ingredients to success, because the last couple weeks on Tuesdays we're supposed to bring you the ingredients to success. Well, we've had a different schedule these last couple Tuesdays, but I am a man of my word and a man of my promise. So even though we've changed some things up on a Tuesday, I owe you some ingredients to success, and I pay what I owe. So the ingredients to success, proudly presented by Avicoli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. You're looking at fantastic pizza there. It should be making you hungry. It's making me hungry. You can head out to Avicoli's today for lunch, dinner, and drinks. Drink responsibly as always. And when you go over there for lunch and you grab some pizza slices, let them know that Wake Up Call sent you their way. My ingredients to success. Well, my topic is Syracuse football, and let's discuss the ingredients to success for Syracuse football. On National Signing Day, 2 months to the date from my birthday. My birthday on October 21st, National Signing Day on the winter solstice beginning on December 21st. So let's break down in the ingredients to success what I think Syracuse is doing to succeed here for the future. Well, first and foremost, they're recruiting the state of New York. Now, I have never said recruit the state of New York blindly. I've never said recruit the state of New York whether there's talent there or not. I've never said recruit the state of New York for all 85 roster spots. So all of the idiocy that's out there, don't listen to it, because it's not true. It's just internet trolls trying to have fun and build off of my success. With that being said, they have recruited the state of New York, and I'm happy that they did. They recruited David Clement, who I've spoken to for a while now, out of Christian Brothers Academy. We have one in Syracuse. This one is in Albany. And they went to the state semifinals this year, so congratulations to them for that. Zion Moultrie-Goddard coming to us from the Bronx. So David Clement is a tight end, mind you. Zion Moultrie-Goddard is a linebacker, and he is coming from Iona Prep. Both Clement and Moultrie-Goddard are freshmen. Richard Perry, also a freshman, and Jalil Smith. So all the New Yorkers coming in are freshmen. Richard Perry coming from Bennett. They just won a state title, and he is hailing from Buffalo. And Richard Perry is coming onto the team as a defensive lineman. They need a lot of help at the D-line as they've gone through injuries last year, so they need some depth. And on top of that, they also are going to have to make up for Steve Linton, who jumped into the transfer portal here right after the regular season finished up. So let's make sure that we take a look at that. And well, Syracuse has taken a look at that, I should say. So make sure, in my opinion, that Syracuse did something about it, and they have, bringing in 5 defensive linemen. Jalil Smith, also spoke with him multiple times, and recently here, coming out of Brooklyn, Abraham Lincoln High School in Brooklyn, New York, with some of my friends hailing from that school. So shout out to Jalil Smith. And looking at, so that's looking by state, the ingredients to success. Recruiting New York State. When you find the guys, like Dino said, not just bringing in anybody, but bringing in people that can contribute and be a big part of this, and he believes New York showed out. I'm happy that he recruited the state of New York, and I hope that they show out and show not only Syracuse, but the rest of the nation that there's great talent here. In New Jersey, Syracuse got 2 in their ingredients on building a successful future, proudly presented by Avicoli's. In New Jersey, they got Jaeden Bellamy, who came from North Haledon, New Jersey, Bergen Catholic, but most recently played defensive back at Notre Dame. He'll come in and look to help and assist the team post Deuce Chestnut and post Garrett Williams. Also from New Jersey, Mawafik Parkman out of Newark, New Jersey. Mawafik comes to Syracuse as a true freshman at the running back position from Hillside, and this will be great. LaQuint Allen Jr. is going to be running things here, and Mawafik can help him out as we are seeing Sean Tucker move on to the NFL, which I'm not surprised about. And then out of Virginia, they also got 2 incoming players here. Ike Daniels out of Stafford. Ike Daniels coming onto the team to help in the backfield as well. A running back, true freshman out of Mountain View in Stafford, Virginia. And Ty Gordon out of Gainesville in Virginia. It's spelled a little bit different than the Gainesville that you know in Florida. So Ty Gordon coming to the team out of Virginia. He will play on the defensive line as a freshman, coming out of Battlefield, Virginia, which is a really cool name. And then Syracuse got 1 recruit from Florida, Kansas, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and the American Samoa, which is really, really cool. the American Samoa, Lysander Moalo, I would say. And if I got it wrong, then I'll definitely correct it. But Lysander coming to the team here, and Lysander going to be playing on the offensive line. He is a junior coming from Vaitogi, American Samoa. Went to Timberline and Navarro College most recently, as he's coming over as a transfer, as a junior here. And then, and that's like from the American Samoa, as I stated, from Florida. Braylon, I mentioned him before, Ingraham, coming to the team out of Fort Lauderdale in Florida. Braylon is on the defensive line. He is a graduate transfer. He came out of St. Thomas Aquinas, but he is coming most recently from the University of, wait for it, Alabama. Roll Tide, roll Tide. Coming on to the team, so that'll be a big help to the Orange, hopefully, coming from Alabama, being recruited by so many schools like Jaeden Gould was. Jaeden Gould also coming to Syracuse via Nebraska. And so I do want to mention him because he wasn't on this list when it was given to us from Syracuse, because he, within 5 minutes of Dino doing his press conference, had gotten all his paperwork in. Out of Kansas, we have Bryce Cahoon, the only wide receiver coming in this class. And that's tough because they have 3 wide receivers that are leaving. But remember, Syracuse has more work in the transfer portal they can do, and they also have the opportunity for the second National Signing Day, which happens in the first Wednesday in February, which I believe is February 1st in 2023. I'm going to double check that for us right now because I don't want to. Yeah, it is. 1st February. First Wednesday in February. So February 1st will be National Signing Day Part 2 for the Syracuse Orange. They got Bryce Cahoon out of Wichita. He played at Mays, and he is an incoming wide receiver. Like I said, the only wide receiver in this class currently for Syracuse. And then out of Maryland, I did a special with him that's going to be airing here for you this week. His he goes by Daniel, but his his birth name is Olawade Malade Omopariola. His middle name is David, so he goes by David Omopariola. And David comes to us as a defensive lineman, a freshman out of Woodlawn in Baltimore, Maryland, but he grew up and was born in Nigeria, and so he's coming from Maryland. He said from his part of where he's coming from, first ever to get a Power 5 offer and first ever to come to Syracuse from his part of Maryland. So excited for David Amapariola to put it on for Baltimore, put on for Maryland, and put on for his community in making some history and opening some doors, hopefully, for other student athletes from that same area. From Massachusetts, Syracuse gets Jaden Bass from Springfield. I know it all too well. You should know Springfield. It's where the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame is located. Jaden comes on as a freshman on the offensive line, 6'6", 300 pounds, Springfield, Massachusetts, going to Springfield Central. Out of Minnesota, Syracuse got Travion Mack. Coming to Syracuse as an offensive lineman, a freshman out of Irondale in Mounds View, Minnesota. Good to see that. Out of Pennsylvania, Lonnie Rice comes to the team from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Lonnie Rice, a redshirt sophomore transferring from Lackawanna Community College, but originally hailing from Bishop McDevitt in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And then Syracuse has one from South Carolina, Josiah Jeffrey. Not the one, well, I shouldn't say not the one. One of the names you were hoping to hear from South Carolina is Lenora Sellers. He still has his Syracuse commitment pinned to his Twitter handle, but he has not made a decision, nor did he sign with Syracuse here on National Signing Day for December 21st. In the conversation I had with Lenora Sellers that you can go back and listen to on any one of our podcasting platforms and outlets, I implore you to do so. I was not sold on him coming to Syracuse based on our conversation. You can go back and listen to it on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, Podbean, Podvine, Spotify, Stitcher, Player FM, YouTube, and TuneIn. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and then scroll to Lenora Sellers' conversation. So make sure that you do that today, and I appreciate your support as always. So thank you for being there on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. With that being said, continuing the conversation here, South Carolina. Syracuse did get this recruit from there, from Greenwood, South Carolina, Josiah Jeffrey. Josiah Jeffrey comes onto Syracuse as a freshman linebacker from Greenwood, South Carolina, and Greenwood High School. From Tennessee, I did a special with him that will be airing today as well, so you'll have the opportunity to listen to that. My special conversation with Joe Moore, coming from Franklin, originally Franklin, Tennessee, and spent the last 5 seasons at the University of Richmond, and is coming off playing the number 2 team in the nation and coming within one possession, 38-37, in a game where he did not give up a sack, and coming from the Richmond Spiders to the Syracuse Orange as a grad transfer with 1 season of eligibility. Joe Moore playing as offensive tackle, coming onto the team, has spent the majority of his time at right tackle, but can come in and play either of the tackle positions for Syracuse. And when he was in Franklin, Texas, went to Christ Presbyterian Academy, CPA, in Tennessee. Out of Texas, I did a special with him as well. Jaeden Reed, who I had mentioned when I was speaking with Dino Babers in our Q&A, is hailing from Houston, Texas. Jaeden Reed spent his recent time in Kansas at Hutchinson Community College, and he has played there at the center position. He'll look to come in and play center at Syracuse, where they really need help. And coming out of Houston, Texas, even though he was at a community college, got a ton of experience, a ton of starts, and has many opportunities to help the team out here. So excited to see Jaeden Reed. He had to wait his time. He had to learn. He had to grow. He had to blossom. And I'm so excited to share his story with you. So looking forward to that. And so that is Syracuse in a nutshell. And then they also added, after adding Jaeden Gould, they did make another addition here. So I want to make sure that I mention this here, because Jaeden Gould was not on our original list, as he was added after everything was printed out and made. And there's another addition to the team. So Jaeden Gould, coming from New Jersey and then through Nebraska. Syracuse recruited him once. They recruited him again. They got him the second time around as he transferred out of Nebraska. And Syracuse also got Jack Stonehouse as a new punter on the team, as Syracuse is in desperate need of a punter, as they've had some woes here in recent history. I'm not trying to witch hunt or treat anybody any type of negative way. The punting just hasn't been productive, and Syracuse has to make a change, so they're bringing in a punter, Jack Stonehouse. So excited to see Jack join the team as well. So you can add another one from New Jersey with Jaeden Gould, so that would be 3 for New Jersey. And then with Jack Stonehouse, we're going to be, or Syracuse is going to be bringing in a punter here, which I'm excited for, committing to Syracuse. He is a transfer punter that will be coming into Syracuse. And so he spent his most recent time with the Missouri Tigers. And so he's coming from the transfer portal. And he served as the Tigers punter last season and was 5th in the SEC. So a shout out to Jack Stonehouse, who is joining the Syracuse Orange as a transfer portal punter. So not only somebody that's, I mean, it's a good thing. It's a good, I mean, that you got to bring in a punter, and I think Syracuse knows that. So you got to bring in a punter. You're bringing in a guy who's had experience, and he's from Camarillo, California. So add California to Syracuse's list this year, as they added another student athlete. They bring in another state in the state of California. So American Samoa, California, Texas, Tennessee, South Carolina, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, Massachusetts, Maryland, Kansas, Florida, Virginia, New Jersey, and New York, and all of that coming to Syracuse. So excited to see that, and excited for what's to come for the Syracuse Orange here. Ingredients to success, well, they had to get some depth on their offensive line, and they had to bring in people that could potentially play right away. They've done that with a tackle and a center that I've spoken with, so I'm excited that Jaeden Reed coming in as a center, Joe Moore coming in as a tackle. I'm excited to see what the rest of these what all the offensive linemen can do, and to talk with them. Defensive line, they needed depth. Linebackers, they needed help there as well, with Michael Jones moving on. And running backs, they need depth with LaQuint Allen stepping forward. So now you have to make up for him coming in relief of Sean Tucker, or with Sean Tucker at times. So now you have some depth there. And then, defensive back-wise, you had to do something, and you bring in Jaeden Gould and Jaeden Bellamy, spelled different, but bringing them both in. You need more help at wide receiver, so I think the ingredients to success is to go out and get more wide receivers, but they at least got Bryce Cahoon. And at the tight end position, you got David Clement. Maybe you can shift him to receiver, or you could utilize him similarly to Aronde Gadsden. And if you have two guys that could be productive across the middle and down the field and more as receivers but listed as tight ends, well, if you have a double threat, then you're in a situation where Aronde Gadsden might get open more, and at the same time we could see some openings for the newcomer David Clement as well. So it builds towards Syracuse's future, and it can help him in the present. So I'm excited to see that. So ultimately, the ingredients to success, I think they did a good job bringing in a couple running backs. I think they did a good job bringing in defensive backs that can hopefully help you right away with guys that have already had experience in college, Jaeden Bellamy at Notre Dame and Jaeden Gould at Nebraska, and highly recruited. I also, think that the tight end help with David Clement is good for Aronde Gadsden the second. Building in the trenches, you spent most of your scholarships on the offensive and defensive line. I think that that's incredibly smart. You recruited the state of New York, which I love, and I hope these guys show out, and Dino seems to be excited about them. You helped out your linebacker core, and you went out there and got a punter, and you really need help with that. So I think, building toward a brighter future for Syracuse Orange football, the ingredients to success are here on this sheet, and, you still have some more opportunities and some more, I think when I was looking at a week or so ago when I was looking at the guys that were leaving that had finished up their eligibility, and on top of that, guys going to the NFL and guys transferring, that Dino had to fill about 20 roster spots. And what I'm seeing here now is you have 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20. So he got to 20 from what I'm seeing here. So I said, based on my mathematics, they had to fill 20 spots. And here in the early signing period, they have filled 20 spots. So that looks to be awesome. And maybe they can, see what they have to do here. If they could fill up a spot or two, or, going back and reassessing the numbers, if they can, look to bring in another guy or two and help out in some other areas, that would be great for this team. But I said that they needed approximately 20 spots to be filled with scholarships, and they got 20 on signing day. So good stuff. Good mathematics. Looks like Dino and I are by the numbers on point here together, playing the same, or getting the same equation. So that's a good thing, and I'm excited to see Syracuse bring in 20 new faces. With that being said, we'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll wrap up today's show right after this from inside the Cafe Cubal studios, where our Witty Wicks candle burns bright.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-123 at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios where sports meets that thing called life. I want to thank you for being with us live every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Facebook.com, YouTube.com, and MixLR.com, all /Wake Up Call DT, Facebook.com /Live Now DT, and on WakeUpCallDT.com. Once the shows go live, you can check out the archives. You're going to want to bookmark, save, download, subscribe, follow Wake Up Call on all of these outlets because we got a ton of stuff coming to you celebrating that Syracuse incoming 2023 recruiting class that I just spoke about inside of the Ingredients to Success, proudly brought to you by Avicoli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. So, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, as well as Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, TuneIn. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora or one word Wake Up Call DT and be ready for National Signing Day specials coming your way today. Thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Witty Wicks, Avicoli's, PB&J's Lunchbox, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Mother's Cupboard, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Honda City of Liverpool, Chick-fil-A Watertown, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Pizza Man, and our newest partner, 317 at Montgomery, with fantastic food unlike any other place in Syracuse, New York. Nestled in downtown Syracuse, the name of the restaurant is the name of their address, 317 at Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of Moyne College. And your Moyne Dolphins come to you every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Make sure that you are here with us monthly in all of our coverage of Moyne, and you can check out our specials on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We call it Dolphin Time. I got to give Bob Beretta credit for that. He called it Dolphin Time. Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Dolphin Time every first and third Wednesday is AD and DT with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora, airing new episodes of our conversations of AD and DT, spending a lot of time on realignment, reclassification, and Moyne looking at potentially going Division I And every second and fourth Wednesday, the Dolphin Dive dives into stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni, like today's broadcast with Anna Pego, the exclusive first interview since she accepted her job with Moyne as the new volleyball head coach, hailing from Brazil and most recently from UNC Charlotte and University of New Haven inside of the NE10 where Moyne plays. She was there as an assistant and a head coach at New Haven, so knows all about the NE10 and excited to have her back into the NE10, but at Moyne here on the Heights. You can check out all of our specials by going to the Moyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com, bookmarking and subscribing for free. And of course, you can subscribe to us on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and search our Moyne content there. For more information on Moyne, go to the newly redesigned website, LeMoyneDolphins.com. I can't help but love that beat. I think more every time I listen to it. It makes me dance in the studio, and I just love it. Bobcat Buzz comes to you every single month in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. The Bobcats have been with us with student athletes, coaches, and administration. We have spoken with national champions, and we've spoken with inaugural programs. Their baseball program and is heading toward its inaugural season. Head coach Sean Peak and a bunch of his student athletes have joined the broadcast. We have been covering throughout the seasons and before the season of men's and women's basketball and their new head coaches in both. And of course, we covered men's and women's soccer coming off of national championships for each program, speaking with their head coaches and their student athletes. For the Bobcat Buzz, go to BSC Syracuse tab on wakeupcalldt.com, bookmark and subscribe for free. Subscribe to us on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and search Bobcat Buzz, where you'll find all of our content with the Bobcats. And for more information on the Bobcats, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and make sure you head out to the games and support your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I hope you go out to the Moyne games and the Bryan and Stratton games and support these teams. I very much appreciate your love and support and your goodness to all of these wonderful, wonderful teams, including Moyne and Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, where we are very proud to be their exclusive multimedia marketing partner, and we look forward to all we can do heading into the new year with those partnerships. So with that being said, a big thanks to Anna Pego for letting us be the exclusive first conversation since accepting her job as Moyne volleyball head coach. We thank Dino Babers for the Q&As, and I thank you for listening into the Ingredients to Success, and I thank Avacoles for having a very special Syracuse football incoming recruiting class, Ingredients to Success, for today. Coming to you from Avacoles on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. Head out to Avacoles today, grab a slice for lunch, let them know that Wake Up Call sent you. You will not be disappointed. Awesome people in an awesome place, supporting our community for multiple awesome, incredible decades. And right down the road from Liverpool High School, you can literally walk to Avacoles from Liverpool and vice versa. Find us on Facebook 24/7 at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. Plenty of National Signing Day specials coming your way, so you're going to want to like and follow and share our social media so you don't miss anything today and beyond. And as always, from the Cafe Kubal Studios, I bid you adieu with a God bless, no stress. Do your best. We'll talk soon. Be well and stay safe.